Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's great to see you all today in Fintech Istanbul. Today, we had great sessions in the morning, most on the trends and technologies in the Fintech area. Now, in this session, we will delve into the engineering practices, specifically engineering excellence, and how it will accelerate our productivity. In today's world, efficiency and agility is crucial more than ever for banks and fintechs. And with this, we have also this. Currently, software developers can only focus 1/3 of their time for value-added coding. And the rest, it's mainly keeping the lights on. Code maintenance, finding the information, reading documentation, onboarding a new joiner. But these are all necessary things. They are not redundant. So overlooking to productivity and focusing only to coding activities will make you miss the opportunities in the overall software development lifecycle. So currently, banks and fintechs focus on innovation, launching new products and services with pace. And for software leaders, almost all of them, they acknowledge that engineering agility is necessary for business agility. While more than half of the organizations do not have the necessary engineering agility today. So it's very clear that's why we need engineering excellence. For software leaders, it's intuitive, but it's not only an IT thing. Business leaders should also be aware of this. And software leaders should be able to explain and give the rationale behind this. And there are 3 key impact areas that software leaders can build the business case on. The first impact area is regarding the talent retention. The second is on the competitiveness and how we can increase time to market. And third one is on the throughput and increasing costs. So with the pandemic, the workforce behavior is completely changed, especially in software development. With remote working, it's fundamentally shifted. So when we look at the market, junior to mid-level developers only retain in an organization aging 1.5 years. This means that there is lots of circulation and there's lots of loss of know-how. And acquiring a talent is not only a HR operations, it's very costly. When you lose a talent, acquiring them, onboarding them, and making them fully functional and self-sufficiently coding will take a huge time, averaging 5 to 6 months for a large-scale company. So it's a huge loss of capacity for organizations. So if you retain your talent, it will unlock your capacity. Also, we need agility right now. And with increasing our time to market, time to value, will directly affect our bottom line. If we release a specific feature, a product, a single quarter earlier, we will be able to get our customer satisfaction, get the market share, and acquire our target revenue potentials. And also there is another thing. Right now, engineering costs are skyrocketing. And it brings another expectation to the table. All the executives right now expecting more with less from the engineering organizations. So we should have also a throughput issue on the table. So with engineering excellence and making our software delivery lifecycle more efficient, we will be able to accelerate our time to market and throughput. Why I'm talking about it? Because it's critical for software leaders to put them on table, rationalize them, and take the acceptance of the business leaders. And here comes the question: is productivity really measurable in the software development area? So from the writers of the book Accelerate to big technology companies like Google and Microsoft, they say that you cannot directly measure productivity. If we check any productivity metrics, we see that they are basically either velocity metrics, quality metrics, or operational ones. But we see that there is lots of frictions and waste in SDLC. There's huge waste, and we can measure that. And especially, that's the thing that differentiates the high-performing technology organizations. Eliminating the onboarding burdens for the newcomers. Eliminating the cognitive load on the senior developers. Shortening the feedback loops. Enhancing their DevOps tool chains, making it self-service, more efficient, and bringing all the necessary information available for everyone to access easily. With such, organizations can free up to 25% of their time. Recent research shows that this 25% of developer time is directly wasted due to inefficiencies in the process. And DORA also publishing reports each year and classifying organizations from low effectiveness to elite. And they are doing it with 4 main metrics. And these are great metrics to see the organizational performance in a business world. But we need to delve deeper on the measurement side because it's not enough. Because for engineering effectiveness, we need to go deeper. We need to identify the differences between teams. We need to identify the different behaviors and see where are the main frictions. We will come to this. And yes, how to tackle that? There's a framework. So the engineering excellence framework covers 5 main aspects. So streamlining the software delivery lifecycle is the initial one. That makes the business and IT alignment with frictionless processes and also embedding all the DevOps practices to our model. And we have the developer experience part where we explore the journeys of our developers, providing self-service onboarding and knowledge hub for them, and be able to measure their experience. Also, adaptive platform engineering is very critical here. Providing self-service components, simplifying DevOps tool chains will directly reduce the cognitive load in the organization. And with the accelerators, which we can today be able to do AI-augmented development using GenAI assistants for coding, we get very fast, we get very efficient during the coding. But it's not only just process and tool thing. We need to also adapt our culture to this new mindset. So we should be able to create an environment for our engineers and pave the way for them so that they can efficiently work and deliver their code with pace. Why we are so insistently focusing on developer experience term? Because we see that this is the correct approach to tackle the inefficiencies and frictions in this environment. Developer experience starts with understanding the developers and engineers in our organization. We start with some journey maps, then we identify the feedback loops in the system, in the process, So feedback loops, these small pieces, work items that developers need feedback during the process, validating a code, getting a peer review, doing this acceptance tests. But whenever it is earlier and quicker, it will be more effective for an organization. Understanding the cognitive load on the people, especially the senior ones, and based on solid metrics, measuring them. And finally, putting them in a structured initiatives that will boost our efficiency. So I will navigate through how we approach this and go through some examples. So in this journey, we start with identifying the personas, because software delivery model is a multifaceted model. So it has very different personas, and based on their skills, their seniority, their teams, what the technology platform they are working on, the journey differs. So we should identify and tackle the journey based on that. And we create this developer journey maps based on the value stream techniques, because it's the most suitable one, as the path to production is a value stream, obviously. And it is the most critical value stream of a technology organization. So we start with setting all the stages of the SDLC, then drill down to all the activities, the main stakeholders in that activity, which tools are used, and how we can measure, with which metrics we can measure that part, that specific feedback loop. And we come to the measurement problem. So engineering excellence is not directly about measurement, but it's the foundation. With data, you prove your point. You explicitly show everyone where the friction is. And here, we use mainly two metric approaches, quantitative and qualitative ones. So quantitative ones, we adopt the approach of space framework and adding the cognitive load assessment, and we have created a list of developer experience metrics with huge benchmark data right now. But we also use qualitative data based on surveys and focus groups. We gave importance to the developer surveys. Why? Even the leading technology organizations right now cannot measure any of these metrics from day one. Either they cannot integrate all the data points and aggregate them, or they don't even have that data points because of the misconfiguration of the current tools. So what we need to do? We need to go and ask our engineers. Because when we ask them, honestly, and try to make their life easier, to make them focus more on the creative tasks, they will answer it. And they will come up with more context, even a better context than the quantitative ones. Because a developer can directly say that build a code and releasing it to an environment could take too many time. And it will be great. And even there are some stages in the SDLC where you see a specific developer is at the coding stage. But you know, a developer has too many cognitive load, especially the senior ones, on themselves, so that even in the coding phase of a specific project, they need to onboard another team member, help other teams to get proficient with the new design practices. So it will give better context. So what we suggest is that first, use qualitative metrics, go with the surveys, apply focus groups, and have the qualitative metrics. It will give you the most frictionless part. Then, when you have an idea, go with the quantitative metrics. It will give you much deeper insights. So you can differentiate between teams, you can see all the details among the tools, so you can identify the results better. But in the further phases, use them both, continuously measure and understand and give the context by this whole insights. And one important thing here is do not just focus on what you have right now. It is easy to measure what you have, but focus on where value resides. And finally, what it leads to? It leads us to impact mapping. So with the current developer journey in hand and with all the measurements we make, while we map them, we can directly identify all the frictions in our journey. And from those frictions, we can benchmark ourselves with our competitors, and we can create dedicated initiatives with setting net key results. So an initiative can be providing a self-service onboarding. If you have an onboarding issue, if you are onboarding a newcomer around 2 months, you should put it around 2 weeks if you want to be a leading organization. So you should have a clear key result in this. And yes, there are some accelerators currently we have in the market, and 2 of them distinguish. The first one is the internal developer portals, which are an integrated hub, and think them as a homepage of the developers. When they come to office or working in their home, when they start the day, they go to there and they will be able to access all the environments, systems, documentation, service catalog, all with ease. Starting with Spotify's Backstage open source project, it gave a great traction, and right now most of the leading banks started to adopt this, and it's very making the life easier for engineers. And yes, we are in the generative AI subject now. So I know everyone is excited about this topic. And you see, Gartner predicts that 75% of all developers will be using AI assistants in 4 years. We see that it could be sooner. Because right now, already in Turkey, most of the leading banks started adopting it by using Copilot for AI augmented development and also for prompting, for searching technical documentation. And it's going faster and faster. So we examined the key areas where generative AI can give the most efficiency. And we see that there are 3 main areas. The first one is knowledge sharing. So especially for large enterprises, ironically, they have great depth of documentation. There are lots of documentation, but some in the project workspace, some in the Teams SharePoint, some in the Jira tickets, and you cannot directly access this information. So with Gen AI, with basic prompting, you can train all the data to there, ingest, and based on the prompting, you can use this data. The other 2 topics are mainly coding assistants. Right now, it's mainly some suggestions, but it's going deeper. In the upcoming years, we will see that organization could train these models with all their code bases, and based on that, these models will provide self-healing suggestions, will provide better composability, better usability suggestions, better design practices, and it will directly improve the quality. And the third area is testing. Right now, it's mainly started with unit testing, but when we'll be able to train these models with all the code base and it can understand all the dependencies, it will better create functional test cases, end-to-end test case that will be directly created to a script. Yet, it's just a tool that we will give to our developers. is not a direct solution. So we should be aware that it should solve a friction. So we should always come up from the developer journeys, identify the frictions, and use this tool accordingly. If not, it's just a tool, it's just a great technology trend that we have tried. Okay, but what is the impact? If you do not put it on a journey map, if you do not have measurable metrics, you will never know what is the impact of this. And last but not least topic is the cultural change. So I'm a big fan of the book Atomic Habits, and it perfectly gives you the idea of how a cultural change requires and the process you need to move. So if you want to build a habit, you need to start with small steps. Even your ambition is great. You should disintegrate it into small atoms. So with such, you will have a process and you will have a daily, weekly progresses. If you don't put it like that, if you just put an ambitious objective and you try week in, week out, you see that there is no progress, you can see the value. And then you come at a stage that, let's break it. But when you break it, all the effort is gone that you have put. So we see this the same. The developer experience and engineering excellence journey is the same. You need to put an effort, you need to introduce new processes, tools, and way of workings to the working environment. And with such, one day there will be a click. It's not just a single activity that will boost the impact, but it will be the result of all the activities that will go on, and bring the value that you expect. So, from this speech, I just want everyone to go away with 3 main key takeaways. If we want to have engineering excellence in our technology organizations, first, we need to identify what are the processes and tools that should be changed. And starting with a developer journey map is a great idea for that. And you can put all the friction points based on that, and you can adapt all the accelerators based on that. Second, you need to know what are the data points that are the proofs. You should give a rationale, especially for the executives. And qualitative data is a great starting point, and enriched with a quantitative data, it's the most important thing here. And the cultural change is very, very important. So if we do not shift our organization to a product mindset, if we do not give our organization to shift our model to embody this model, it will break sometime. So continuity is key, and adapting our culture to this way of working is the key. Thank you very much. I will be around today. If you want to talk about it, it will be glad for me. Thank you.